is in jail facing the death penalty and doesn't have a lawyer. That's the predicament of Canadian Bashir Makhtal. He's being held in an Ethiopian prison over alleged links to a rebel group. His family is calling for his return, saying Makhtal went back east to East Africa to run a business. And as David McGuffin reports, Makhtal's case raises renewed questions about the Canadian government's responsibility to protect citizens abroad.
This is the prison where Canadian Bashir Makhtal has spent the last 18 months, most of that in solitary confinement, denied access to lawyers and, until 2 weeks ago, even to Canadian consular officials. The 39-year-old Makhtal faces the death penalty, accused of links to an ethnic Somali rebel movement his grandfather founded in Ethiopia, known as the ONLF. His family denies this. He was absolutely not a member of the ONLF, his fiancée says. He wasn't supporting the ONLF. He has no political involvement. Bashir is just a businessman. Born in Ethiopia, Makhtal became a Canadian citizen in 1991. He moved back to East Africa 7 years ago, running a clothing business in the region. Canada is now sending its second delegation to Ethiopia to discuss Makhtal's case.
But most importantly, we want to see that there's a transparency on the whole case, including the availability of lawyers to him.
But Makhtal still doesn't have a lawyer and faces a military court next week. Beyond the details of Mr. Makhtal's case, what legal experts say is at stake is this: the value of a Canadian passport. For Canadians in trouble overseas, this document is only as strong as the government's willingness to defend those who hold it. Makhtal was one of several foreign nationals arrested at the Kenyan border, fleeing from Somalia during the Ethiopian invasion of that country in December 2006. Interrogated in this Nairobi police station, Makhtal was then put on a flight to Somalia and then Ethiopia. At the airport. This man, who asked to remain anonymous for fear of his safety, was on Makhtal's flight to Mogadishu. He says that when Makhtal found out where the plane was going, he said, "No, why are you taking me to Mogadishu? I am not a Somali, I am a Canadian. Deport me to Canada." There was a confrontation. He was beaten with rifle butts and dragged onto the plane bleeding. British, American, French and Swedish nationals also on these flights have since been released from Ethiopian prisons. Only Makhtal remains. His fiancée says Canada is not doing enough. Other foreign nationals that were captured by the Ethiopian government, those other countries worked hard for their release, she says. I want Canada to do the same. Human Rights Watch says the Ethiopian government is carrying out war crimes against ethnic Somalis in the Ogaden region. Makhtal's fellow prisoner, an ethnic Somali, shows the scars from the torture he received. The Ethiopians would beat you with steel rods until you fainted, he says. By all accounts, Makhtal hasn't been tortured since arriving in Ethiopia 18 months ago, but his treatment falls far, far short of international human rights conventions that Ethiopia has signed. And with Makhtal facing a death sentence from a military court, his family worries that Canada has simply done too little and left it too late. David McGuffin, CBC News, Addis Ababa,